she wasn't tied to any of those groups.
The images come to us from a variety of sources. So they either come from our field agents who do search warrants and seize computers, do forensic analysis on the computers or devices. Phones now are obviously popular. And what they're looking for is images that have never been seen before, which means they're new victims. They're victims who are being abused and who have not been identified or rescued. What we do here is we take all those images, we break down the background, the logos, anything you can think of in an image that you're not seeing, right? We have to look past the victim and look at everything else as well and see what we can pick out. So it takes an investigator looking at it, and then in combination with the technology to be able to figure out, how can we identify the people and the place in this image.
Oh, can I turn off the overheads again? It's the one on the right. Is that okay there, or do you need them?
I need them.
We can't do it alone. I mean, we can only point to a direction, and then we need, traditional investigative means of interviews, search warrants, forensic analysis. So it's a combination of all of those things.
I know. Only to get photographed.
It's exploded because people think that they're anonymous. Even when they're not on the darknet, they find company in others who are looking at this material, where in the past they didn't have that.
Is it uncomfortable on your eyes? Do you like,
It's a little bright, but no, it wasn't coming.
put it on the brighter setting? Lower it.
I think most of the people who work these cases really compartmentalize. They have to be able to turn it off. When you're at work, and then you have to shut it off when you go home so it doesn't affect every part of your life.
Yeah, legitimate professionals. We'll try.
Eventually, we got the actual manufacturer to come back and say, yes, we know exactly where this playground configuration is. So it pointed us to this playground, this specific playground where the red arrow is in Houston. And there's an overview of the actual location. At this point, we send this to the field. And the field has to go out and do knock and talks. They do interviews. This is a case where they would take that image, the non-exploitative image, and take it to a school and say, do you recognize this child? Take it to a daycare. Do you recognize this child? Just canvass the neighborhood, that traditional boots on the ground work. So this is an actual picture of that neighborhood. So now we know, all right, we're there, we're in the right place. Through the investigative work, the agents were able to locate the child in the house on the left, and it was her father who was abusing her. And they knocked on that door, and they got that child out, and they eventually arrested and prosecuted the offender.
Just walk me back.
It gets you. Even if you have all of the right mechanisms in place to protect yourself, at some point you need to turn it off. And at some point I've come into the lab and said, hey, just stop looking at that. Right? I can tell it's affecting you. Walk away.
This is normally right.
Oh, okay. Are you angry?
The minute you find out that you helped with the rescue of a child, you cannot beat that feeling. I cannot think of another thing in life that makes you feel that good, because you just helped save somebody's life.